call me Mystic Mac because I predict these things.
Ilia Topuria takes on Charles Oliveira. This Saturday is the main event of UFC 317. This is for the vacant lightweight championship, since Islam is vacating and going up and fighting JDM for the welterweight belt. So, Ilia Topuria coming up for 145, vacating that belt to win this one against Charles Oliveira, who, former champ. We all know who Charles Oliveira is. I'm really looking forward to this fight. It's kind of bittersweet for me because I really like both of these guys. Charlie Olive's been one of my favorite fighters for the longest time. Absolute legend. Been in the UFC for a while. Puts on very impressive performances. Very well-rounded. Finishing ability everywhere. And you can say the same for Ilia Topuria. Absolute finisher, stud, future star, current star, future, superstar in the sport if he sticks around. I hear that he wants to get a few more wins and kind of ride off into the sunset with, paycheck on top of paycheck without taking a lot of damage. But he's only 28 years old. Ilia Topuria just turned 28 back in January. So very young, barely even into his prime, undefeated. He's 5'7" with a 69-inch reach, taking on Charles Oliveira, who's 5'10" with a 74-inch reach. So Charles Oliveira is going to be 3 inches taller with a 5-inch reach advantage. And he's going to be 7 years older. He's going to be 36 in October. Got a lot of tread on those tires, been in tons of wars, taking a lot of damage. He has been finished a lot, but he's, 45 fights into his career, been fighting since he was 17, 18 years old. So it is what it is. Both these guys are absolute studs. It's a shame that one of them has to lose, honestly, because, Ilia Topuria, highly skilled, very entertaining fighter, just oozes confidence. So it's really fun to see both of these guys fight. And I'm looking forward to it. So Charles Oliveira doesn't really need any introduction. Very high-level jiu-jitsu black belt off of his back, on top. This dude can finish you anywhere on the ground. Has very good sweeps if he's on his back. Throws up submissions. Looks to do damage on the ground as well. Had really good wrestling in his last fight against Michael Chandler. And really good striking. He's got some good power in the hands, good technique. Comes from the shoot the box, very offensive style. And concerned about his chin. He has been chinned several times in his career. Can be hurt, can be put on the ground, but has a lot of finishing potential. He's got a good left hook, extends his combinations really well, and very rangy for lightweight. Like I said, 5'10", he could be 5'11", I don't know if that's right, but 74-inch reach as well that he utilizes very well. Kicks, punches, very dynamic striker. Again, probably one of the most well-rounded guys that we have. Taking on Ilia Topuria. He's going to be at a reach disadvantage, like I said, which is concerning. And I think the biggest thing people are talking about here is just the size differential. Charles Oliveira, he used to fight at 145 pounds, but since he moved up, he's really kind of filled in his frame. He's a big dude. He's probably cutting from 190 pounds. And I've heard Ilia Topuria that he's walking around at, low 180s, which is good. But he's got a smaller frame, a little bit more petite than Charles Oliveira, to where I don't think he'd be able to put on the weight that Oliveira can. And that's one of my concerns is, can Topuria put on the weight onto his current frame the way that he needs to really be an effective guy at 155 pounds. But again, I think that the skill, the technique, just overall fighting spirit of Ilia Topuria could overcome being the smaller fighter. But we'll see. Because Charles Oliveira is not a small guy. But Ilia Topuria, he's got really fast technical boxing, patient in his approach, doesn't really rush, tremendous jab, obviously a lot of power, piston of a right hand, hard calf kicks. He saw that in his last fight against Max Holloway. He crosses the void very well and crosses distance effectively, cuts off opponents versus following them, and always inching forward, putting pressure on his opponents, able to move in and extend his combinations very well. Really good head movement, doesn't get hit a lot, and has 6 KOs to his name. I think he's got 8 submission wins, so finished a lot of his fights. He can finish them wherever the fight goes. He is very good and fast takedown entries. We saw that against Holloway. Started to wrestle early, which I think surprised everybody, but very quick with the takedown. Makes you worry about his takedowns to kind of open up his feints, and then uses that to open up his striking. And he's very high level on the ground as well. He's a high level jiu-jitsu black belt. I think he's the first guy from Georgia, Georgia, to get his black belt, along with him and his brother. And it was really telling in his fight with Ryan Hall, who's probably one of the best jiu-jitsu guys in the UFC. He was able to just kind of completely nullify and shut down Ryan Hall's leg lock game and Eva's jiu-jitsu game to get the knockout by ground and pound on the ground. So he's got 92% takedown defense. I think Bryce Mitchell took him down once. That might be like the only time that he's been taken down in the UFC. So I'd be curious to see if Charles Oliveira can work from the clinch or get his takedowns against the smaller fighter in Ilia Topuria. But other than that, Ilia Topuria has shown a very high-level game anywhere the fight goes. Cardio for days. Never really seen the guy tired. We have seen him get hurt in his fight. I think it was Jai Herbert in one of his first fights in the UFC. Was dropped with a head kick that would have put anybody out cold. But he kind of ate it, recovered, and eventually got the knockout over Jai Herbert. So it was very impressive. That was kind of the first fight I saw of him where I was like, man, this guy might be a problem. Because that was right after him shutting down Ryan Hall, who I knew was just kind of a jiu-jitsu guy, but still a very impressive performance. And then obviously beats Mitchell and Emmett before putting away Volkanovski and Holloway. So I don't know. I think Ilia Topuria's just got that X factor. He's just got tons of confidence, tons of momentum. He's the legend killer. He's been putting down, a lot of my favorite fighters, Volkanovski, Max Holloway, doing to these guys things that nobody else has ever done. Getting these guys out of there in pretty devastating fashion. Obviously, Volkanovski had been KO'd by Islam before, but Max Holloway, granite chin, never been finished like that. And Ilia Topuria was able to overcome some scary moments in the first couple of rounds where he was kind of taking a lot of punches at range and eating some good shots, but was able to weather the storm and finally find the kill shot against Max Holloway. And I think that's what happens in this one, as much as it pains me to see. I think that Ilia Topuria is going to get the knockout over Charles Oliveira. We've seen Ilia deal with the long body type in Holloway. It took him a couple rounds, but he eventually got his distance and got the knockout blow over Holloway. Holloway didn't have the reach though that Oliveira does. I think Holloway had like a 69-inch reach, which is similar to Ilia Topuria. He's at 69-inch reach as well. But Charles is gonna have 5 inches above that. But like I said, eventually got his range. He just has such an ability to feint, kind of head bob, move into the pocket, move into range, and land his combos. He just kind of corrals his opponent and then closes the distance while he extends his combinations. He's thrown 3, 4, 5 punch combinations to the body and the head. I just see him managing the distance well, not allowing Oliveira to really get close for takedowns without taking damage. And Oliveira, he's looked good with his wrestling, but that was against Chandler, who just kind of laid on his back, doesn't really have the jiu-jitsu to nullify the takedowns or be able to scramble or threaten to get back up to his feet. And he was getting out-grappled at times by Sarukian, who has kind of the same frame and the same body style as Ilia, maybe a little bit thicker, muscled up, but I think Charles can be hurt on the feet. He was hurt by Islam, was hurt by Chandler in that fight. I think it was the 5th round, and he's just taken a lot of damage in his fight. He took a lot of damage in his last fight against Michael Chandler. Granted, it was like 25 strikes to the back of the head, but regardless of whether they're legal or illegal, it's still tons of damage that he took, tons of concussive blows to the back of the head. And he's just been in so many wars, like 45 fights. He's 35 years old. He's been fighting the top competition for the longest time. Fought in November. Before that, a split to arm on Sarukian. Beat Beneil. Lost to Islam. Even in some of these wins, like Justin Gaethje, Poirier, Chandler, like he's been hurt or he's taking damage in some of those fights. I know Oliveira went on that run, that crazy streak, but you get to these top level guys and he's really going 50-50. He's 50-50 in his last 4 fights. And I think Ilia Topuria is much more skilled and much more dangerous than a Michael Chandler or a Beneil Dariush that he's getting wins over. The only person that Oliveira's fought in the last few years that I think would give Ilia a run for his money is Islam Makhachev, just because of the size and just overall skill set. I just think he's got these guys' numbers. He's 28 years old. He's getting better every time we see him. His ceiling is so high. He's not even in his prime yet. So I think he's going to come into this fight and we're going to see a better version of Ilia Topuria than we've ever seen before. Whereas Charles Oliveira, he's got to start falling off at some point. 35 years old, almost 36, 45 fights into his career. Like he's going to start slowing down. and we're going to start seeing cracks in his game. We've already kind of seen that in his last few fights. So I got to go with Ilia Topuria as much as it pains me. I think he's going to be able to, wear the storm of Charles Oliveira at first, be able to keep it on the feet, and find his kill shots. Charles Oliveira has been chinny in the past. We have seen him quit, and I hate to bring that up because we haven't seen that in a long time. He's always a dog, always in there. But I just think Ilia Topuria has, he's got his number in this one. He's taken out a lot of really high-level guys. Alexandre Volkanovski, Max Holloway. If he can take these guys out and get finishes over them, I think he can get it over Charles Oliveira. So I'm going to go with Ilia Topuria to get this one done by knockout. And if we don't see the knockout, I think he can do enough damage to win rounds and get the decision. Thanks.